Salmonella and E. coli in the grocery cart? Could this be true? Let's find out.
Scene script. Imagine being served a plate of invisible, life-threatening bacteria along with your meal. Unsettling, right? Welcome to a shocking reality. A world where the food we consume, the products we pick off the shelves of our local grocery stores, may be teeming with potentially harmful bacteria. The culprits? Two of the most notorious foodborne pathogens, E. coli and Salmonella. These invisible invaders are far more common than you may think. It's estimated that each year, roughly 1 in 6 Americans, that's around 50 million people, fall victim to foodborne illnesses. Out of these, a significant portion is due to E. coli and Salmonella. E. coli, a bacterium found in the environment, foods and intestines of people and animals, can cause illnesses ranging from diarrhea to life-threatening forms of kidney failure. Similarly, Salmonella, another bacterium, can cause fever, diarrhea, and abdominal cramps. But it's not just about the numbers. It's about the people behind these numbers, the young, the elderly, those with weakened immune systems, all of whom are particularly vulnerable to these bacteria. For them, what starts as an innocent meal can quickly turn into a fight for survival. The real question we need to ask is, why is this happening? Why are we finding these bacteria in our foods? And perhaps more importantly, why does it seem like the responsibility of decontaminating these foods falls on us, the consumers, rather than the producers? In the documentary, Poisoned: The Dirty Truth About Your Food, we find some startling insights. The film suggests that lax food safety regulations, cost-cutting measures, and a lack of accountability in the food industry are contributing to this ongoing issue. The food on our plates is not just about nutrition, it's about safety. It's about ensuring that every bite we take doesn't expose us to unnecessary risks. So, what's the next step? How can we protect ourselves and our loved ones from these invisible threats? The first step is knowledge. Understanding which foods are most likely to carry these bacteria can help us make safer choices. But what foods are the main culprits? You might be surprised. Stay tuned to find out. When strolling down the aisles of your local grocery store, you might not realize the invisible threats lurking in your shopping cart. It's a chilling fact that some items we regularly pick up can be hotspots for harmful bacteria, like Salmonella and E. coli. First, let's talk about raw eggs. These breakfast staples are one of the most common carriers of Salmonella. This is because the bacteria can be present both on the shell and inside the egg. Chickens can pass the bacteria to eggs if they are infected, making it a tricky thing to avoid. Next on the list is poultry. Chicken and turkey are prime suspects when it comes to foodborne illnesses. They can become contaminated during processing if intestinal fecal matter comes into contact with the meat. It's an unpleasant thought, but an important one to be aware of. Now, you might think that switching to a vegetarian diet would save you from these risks, but think again. Raw milk and uncooked flour can also be culprits. Raw milk can contain E. coli, Salmonella, and other bacteria since it isn't pasteurized. On the other hand, uncooked flour can be a breeding ground for E. coli. This is because the grains used to make flour can get contaminated by animal feces in the field. So why are these foods particularly susceptible to contamination? The answer lies in how they're produced and handled before they reach the store. Eggs and poultry can get contaminated if the animals are kept in unsanitary conditions. Similarly, raw milk can pick up bacteria from the cow's skin or the environment. Uncooked flour, on the other hand, doesn't go through a process to kill bacteria, which means any contamination from the field can end up in your kitchen. But why is it that these dangerous bacteria find their way into our foods in the first place? It's a question that leads us down a path of dirty truths about our food production system. And it's a path we'll delve into in the next part of our journey. Food producers have a huge responsibility to ensure the safety of their products, but often they pass the buck onto consumers. Consider this for a moment. The foods we consume daily, the ones we trust to nourish us, are often teeming with harmful bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella. But why is it that food producers seem to think it's our job, the consumers, to handle the decontamination. The documentary, Poisoned: The Dirty Truth About Your Food, paints a chilling image of the food production industry and its lax attitude towards food safety. It's a classic case of passing the buck, where food producers dodge their responsibility, and the onus of ensuring food safety falls squarely on the consumer's shoulders. The truth is, there are gaps in food safety regulations and practices. The documentary reveals that the food production industry is not as tightly regulated as we'd like to believe. The standards are there, yes, but the enforcement of these standards often leaves much to be desired. And what about the food producers themselves? In an industry where time is money, many producers choose to speed up the production process rather than ensure the safety of their products. This rush to get products out the door can lead to lapses in hygiene and sanitation, creating the perfect breeding ground for harmful bacteria. But perhaps the most alarming revelation from the documentary is the apparent lack of concern from some food producers. There's a prevailing mindset that it's up to the consumers to ensure the food they buy is safe to eat. After all, you can always cook it thoroughly to kill the bacteria, right? But isn't that a bit like selling a car with faulty brakes and then telling the buyer it's their responsibility to fix them? It's a flawed logic that ultimately puts us, the consumers, at risk. So, what can we as consumers do to protect ourselves? While it's true that food producers and regulatory bodies have a role to play, we can also take steps to ensure our food is safe. We might not have control over how food is produced, but we do have control over how we handle it once it reaches our kitchen. So let's talk about some simple, actionable steps to reduce the risk of E. coli and Salmonella. First and foremost, wash your hands and your cooking surfaces often. This might seem like a given, but you'd be surprised how easy it is to forget when you're in the middle of a cooking frenzy. So, make it a habit. Secondly, be mindful of cross-contamination. Keep raw meats separate from other foods. It's not just about different cutting boards. It's about ensuring that any juice from raw meat doesn't end up lurking somewhere on your countertop or in your salad. Now let's talk about temperature. Cooking your food to the right temperature is crucial. It's not just about taste, it's about safety. Use a food thermometer to make sure your meat is cooked thoroughly and can kill any potentially harmful bacteria. Lastly, refrigerate your foods promptly. Don't let them sit out for more than 2 hours at room temperature. This can be a breeding ground for bacteria, so be sure to chill your food as soon as you can. Remember, food safety starts with awareness and ends with action. Let's take control of our food safety, one meal at a time. It's a lot to swallow, the idea that our everyday foods could potentially make us sick. But knowledge is power. We've uncovered the hidden dangers lurking in your grocery cart, the unsettling truth about food production, and how you can take control of your food safety. To dig deeper, I recommend watching the documentary, Poisoned: The Dirty Truth About Your Food. Remember, your health is in your hands. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notification buttons. Have a food safety story to share? Leave a comment below.